the truth if you're holding back some of it. Partial truth isn't the truth, And so that's what it's making me think of.
I wish it was easy.
Welcome to the Howie and Beastmode podcast, where we discuss all things business, including growth, strategy, and execution, as well as personal and professional development. Let's join Howie and Beastmode in conversation.
Making it to where that one amazing thing can be replicated simply, right?
Yeah, so we talked about a few weeks ago with Cleanup, which is your ministry, your nonprofit. You've got one van right now, and you've got one person. You're having to build out kind of what works and what doesn't work. But what's nice about that is that over time, you find that you do have processes and procedures. Maybe you learn that certain applications help the nonprofit to do better. A different registration system. So I like to get things out of the way of business people and even consumers by turning something that is a manual process or a broken process into a process that works. So I like that. I don't think I'm an expert at it, but I love it. And so that's an area that I think people can really leverage in their business, sort of improving their profits or improving their savings or improving their business speed or their customer satisfaction. Is like, look at what are some things that you're doing manually right now, and are there certain ways of doing that really well? And then how can we enable that, the good process or that well process, right? How can we enable that?
Yeah. It's so hard for individuals and businesses to think like that. I'm not sure why, because I have a very similar thought process to you. Like I want to figure out the most efficient, effective, positive way to do this task, and then be able to pass it off, replicate it, duplicate it, automate it, however we can, and ultimately pass it off. Like, I think that's part of my job as a leader, is be able to find this and pull team members in or whatever. Okay, this is the best way. Okay. And then, okay, everybody, we're doing it this way. But then I find is, how do you either document it so that it's simple to pull up, to learn, to share, to teach, to train. And then how do you create buy-in if you got, an old timer that's been doing it their way for however long, and now you're saying, we got a new SLP over here, we're going to move, what's your go-tos?
So I think it is hard for business owners for sure, or business managers or anybody to sort of slow down and take the time to fix things. So for me, I kind of have it as a hobby or an interest or a passion or an instinct or something. I don't know. And I have so many weaknesses that we could spend a whole series of podcasts on. But one of my strengths is that I like to do this. I like to find things and turn them into. So you talked about documentation, right? So I'll give you an example. We had a process in my last company where we would let people try our software before they buy, right? But it was kind of to be honest, there was not really a lot of documentation around that process. And so it was kind of a little bit different each time. And you had a sales rep and you had a sales engineer that were working together, but it tended to be a technically heavy process led by the engineer more than sales. And people don't buy based on technical things as much as they think they do. That is part of it, but they also buy based on things like their private needs and their company pains and the need to improve processes. So just simply showing features and bells and whistles actually doesn't work. So what was happening in this company is that we were focused on showing bells and whistles more, or plugging the software in to see what it would find, right? Like that was actually one of the goals. Plug it in. In fact, we used to say, send us your data and we'll process the data and we'll show you what we find, right? It's not a totally worthless enterprise, but there's a better way. And so what I did was
that's more like a validator.
It's more like a validator. Yeah, like that. Yeah, exactly. Like that should be
that's
like
the cherry on top. See, it works.
Exactly. And so what I did was I basically turned all of that into a process that was based on customer discovery, customer listening, customer learning, documentation, and I turned that into a three-page document that it was like a POC roadmap, a proof of concept, a software trial sort of proof of concept roadmap. So it's kind of an example. And by the way, that meant that we had a reliable way for the customer and the engineer and the salesperson to know where we are at each step of the way. And they kind of knew what was coming. It's like a roadmap. In fact, I think the second page is actually called a roadmap even. And so that's kind of an example. I mean, other examples could be. Can
I share one of what we did? What we do? So what I do oftentimes whenever I'm training a team member or a new hire or somebody to do a task is I'll pull up a Zoom and I just record myself doing the task. And then I send it over for that individual. And then they can either on their end, I want them to be able to comprehend what I told them to do. And so then they would repeat back or whatever on separately the process that I just showed, and then we'd match them together to see if my process meets yours. And then if there's not, then there's that area for coaching, and then you're able to adjust and fine tune. I said this is what I meant, et cetera, et cetera. And then between the feedback from the employee or whatever, then you're able to but that's the way that I do it.
It's good. Yeah, I like the video aspect.
Yeah. Share screen or whatever you're doing,
Good.
So
yeah, that's really good.
But I had really rudimentary like logins or things like that. Then you could do the same thing. So you could take a full video of the login process and then have the individual. So like for me, for JL, we have an individual who will take and they'll screen grab, okay, go to this website. And then, it just kind of highlights the website. Then, okay, go over here, click login here, put username here, put this password here. And it just screen grabs all of those step by step so that whoever's following next, can just follow the procedure, and then what happens is we keep everything electronically in OneDrive. And so if anything needs to be updated, like a login or like, so each month when we upload content, we'll change our hashtags and we'll change certain things. So we'll just come in there, we'll update the SOP. And then if anybody else comes on, new hires or whatever, they can go view those documents.
It's good.
But then the same issue happens about what if, somebody's not doing it, or you got the old timer who's been doing it their way. And so that's really where I think a lot of businesses are like, I don't want that headache. And so can I just do it the old way? I think no. I think you force the change.
Well, I had a bad I have tried to make changes before, and I've tried to force changes before, and I've had tough outcomes from that. So yeah, it's hard to know, what pace to lead people on in change. But yeah, certainly if you sense willingness and openness and teachability and stuff like that, yeah, I mean, lead on. I mean, you're basically reducing their pain and sort of like increasing their opportunity. So yeah, I think that's really good. Just depends on the appetite for change and the willingness to be guided. I wish everybody had the same level of tolerance.
Yeah, I just think there's sometimes where, when you're in a leadership role, or in just really any capacity, and there's a better way. It's just got to be done,
Yeah.
It's got to be done, got to be documented, got to be instituted, I know for me, like it would just bug me to no end. I if it didn't get instituted, I'd probably quit. I'm not gonna keep doing this the long way,
I think that you would really be surprised that even small and mid-sized companies can be pretty resistant to improvement.
Oh, no, I know. That's what I'm saying. I don't understand why, but it's like once somebody, like the right person, catches it, I don't know how it doesn't get passed down. But again, you see this a lot of times. I mean, just like I said, there's so many old timers, or just, I've been doing this way, and it's just the way I'm going to do it. I'm comfortable this way. I don't make errors when I do it this way. And so I'm going to do it this way.
I've had issues with the earlier career, though. The earlier career people have had very interesting challenges driving change with much earlier career people as well, and having just not wanting to adopt change either. So I think it's kind of more universal.
You think that's more of a pride versus kind of a stuck in my ways kind of deal, or is it?
I think there are personality things,
and I want to prove my own point, and so I gotta, deliver my own course.
Yeah, and I've even used, because I tend to use a lot of kindness and encouragement, and I even found that doesn't work. It's like it still doesn't help for me to, even if I if I lead with kindness and encouragement, I haven't found that necessarily helps drive change or willingness to adopt change. So I'm still kind of cracking that code, to be honest. We've talked about this before, of getting consensus and having a committee approach to change. I think that's probably the ultimate answer, is getting people involved in the change instead of just coming to them with an idea and hoping they adopt it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're able to cast a vision and say, hey, this is how it's going to benefit everybody, even though it's going to, for the first week or two, it's going to seem like you're slower, but you're still actually faster and you're more productive. And, if you're sales, you're going to get more sales. Like it's wins all the way around, but I need you to just do it. And, and again, but you can't deliver with data, just like you said. You can't take a sales rep data and say, you're going to save 15 minutes here and whatever. You still have to be able to cast that vision of wins.
And I don't think I'm strong. I don't necessarily think I'm strong at that. I think I'm strong at building. I'm strong at identifying the change and building a process, but winning people over doesn't seem to be one of my strengths.
Yeah.
So it's something I'll continue to work on for sure.
Yeah. But the value is undeniable. And that's really what we're talking about.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah. Really the procedure part of it, having SOPs, being able to capture these moments. Hey, this went awesome. What did we do differently than we did a week ago? Can we capture it? Can we write it down? Can we document it? Can we video it or whatever, to where we can do this again? That's what I think, right? That's what your passion is behind that, is helping others have that aha moment. Do you find joy in helping others recognize that moment? Like they didn't even realize that moment just happened. You're like, hey, pause, roll back. Did you not just see that? Did you not see this process was better? What happened? What was different?
Yeah, and the process doesn't have to be my idea for me to pass it along. I actually find that I'm more of a collector than an inventor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
can
find
see that.
I do come up with some stuff, but a lot of my stuff, I just see it or I hear about it and I try it and I pass it along. So I become kind of like, I'm like a forwarder more than I am like an inventor, right? So I'm more of a distributor than a Thomas Edison person. You know what I mean?
I think you're more like a seer.
Maybe.
I don't think it was necessary. Does that make sense?
Define seer. I think I know what you're talking about.
So it may not have been your invention, but you saw somebody invent it and they didn't know they invented it.
Yeah, there's been some of that. Yeah.
And you're like, hey, did you see that? That was a great idea. We need to write that down.
I have had that before for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that goes into your encouraging nature. of,
Yeah.
hey, bro, you just did something awesome. Did you see
Yeah.
that? You know,
I
or
do
hey,
love
business, you know?
I do love to give people credit for things. And yeah, that is true. Those are linked, no doubt about it. And I think for, if you're a sales rep, or if you're a realtor, or if you're a small business owner, or if you're a manager, I think you also can benefit from being a seer, and by being somebody who is seeing or spotting practices, asking for advice and being a little bit of experimental about what works, whether it's
Yeah.
a sales process or a savings process or some other process.
Yeah. So let's give some examples, right? So one just popped in my head about, let's just think that if I do this task, let's just say I do social media reach outs, but I do those at 8 a.m. in the morning, and I get, 100 engagements back. But I do the same task at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I get 50. I need to make an SOP that says I need to do this task in the morning. So, and then so sometimes it's just about organizing your day or organizing certain tasks. Hey, these are best done here. And so if I'm delegating this task, or if I'm, showing somebody else, or quite frankly, if I'm just, increasing a book of business, I need to make sure that I have the space to do this here. Right.
Yes.
Does that qualify under what you would say about
Yeah.
procedures? Okay.
I think so. I think anything that is, and I think part of it's just, if you can find a problem, that's almost like the first step. Something that's painful, something that broke, something that is making people mad, something that's making your customers mad, anything like that. I'll give you an example. We were losing to a certain competitor a lot. And we found out that in my current company, that our security detections were 7 times better than this competitor. And so I, on my team at least, started passing that around a lot and evangelizing that a lot. And we started to beat that competitor more. And so just over that piece of information. So like you said, it's being a seer or a truth finder, you know what I mean? Whatever it is, and passing that along. So sometimes it's information sharing itself. That, I guess, that's not really a process. The process could be, make sure you tell the customer about our detection difference versus this competitor.
Yeah, the process is, let's not miss the opportunity to share this data.
Yeah.
And we need to do it at this point in time in the sales process.
Yeah.
I think another avenue is really just kind of the, if you're in a sales role, or if you're just in a plug and chug type of a role, it's one of those things where, is it best to jump on the phones early? Is it best to go through emails early? Some of this thing is personal SOPs. I think it's helpful for you to do that for whatever your role is. But I love the fact that, if you're able to point those out, how beneficial is that for a company when you're able to see those?
Yeah.
And say, hey guys, even if you're just tracking your own data, hey guys, whenever I do this at this point in the process, I get wins. And it seems like it's because of this. Anybody else want to jump in here?
And people in sales tend to be a little bit more open-minded to things that help them generate new sales or new deals, new opportunities, or they, get new appointments. Really, salespeople tend to be good about sharing that kind of thing, I would say.
Yeah.
Other professionals, I'm not sure how much sharing goes on, or how much, maybe there's plenty of that in manufacturing or human resources or marketing. I don't know. My guess is maybe marketing might be decent about sharing because they're trying to get responses as well.
Yeah.
So maybe if they see something that works, they're open to trying it. Maybe I could be wrong.
Yeah. I don't know. Some of it, the entire franchise industry.
Yeah, I love
is
that.
modeled
I thought it was a great example.
on SOPs.
Uh-huh.
So like McDonald's, it's like when you buy a McDonald's franchise, they give you a giant book. I mean, literally, it's this big of just every SOP of everything that could ever happen in your inside the four walls of your restaurant. And when that happens, do this. I mean, everything. And it's just constantly updated.
I'm so glad you brought up this example.
Yeah.
It just shows you, because think about like Quick Car Oil and Lube, for oil changes, or KinderCare for daycare, or McDonald's or Chick-fil-A. It's like these are worth a lot of money to families who run these businesses. And it's literally capitalizing on the things that we're talking about in this podcast, which is turning ideas into repeatable processes. And that's how valuable they are, that there's an industry based on that. And until today, I've never thought of that. So that's a great insight.
Yeah. And if you look at the whole franchise industry, their motto across the entire industry is, do you want to be your own boss? So they're marketing to people who don't know how to run their own business. But what they're doing is they're saying, you don't have to run your own business, because I'm going to give you an entire playbook of how to do everything. So if there's ever anything, you just it's in the book. Go to the book. And, do you know how to turn the lights on? It's in the book. You know how to, drop the fries? In the book. You know how to, order goods? It's in the book. Everything is in the book, and it's how to run your entire business. And it's literally, it's changing everything. Obviously we all know everything's a franchise nowadays,
I think it's really a powerful example. I can't add one thing to that. I think it's awesome.
But I think that goes into why that if you're not doing it, compare yourself over here, about an entire business model that's just exponentially just grabbing chunks of every market out there. It's not like it's just restaurants. No, it's just like you said, KinderCares and automotives and cell phones and everything, real estate. Everything is franchise, and they're grabbing up entire markets and industries just by simply having one SOP that everybody follows.
Yep. Love that. Smart. So that's how valuable it can be to our listeners to find, basically find a pain point, or define, write down what your opportunity is that you need to go, create an opportunity around, and then, look for solutions that can become a process. And hopefully you can find existing solutions, a way that it's working today, and you can adopt or tweak and adopt an existing process to do that certain thing better, faster, cheaper, smarter, less painful, less dangerous, maybe, all these different things. So
they don't just have to be pain points. They don't just have to be pain points. Yes, we want to alleviate pain, but we also want to magnify blessings or magnify positives.
Yeah.
We want to, what do you want it to just happen once a week? Can we have this positive thing happen every day?
100%.
So we got to swing that side too, but
I think it's just really, really powerful. Yep. Yeah.
I think it's a great topic.
I think it's a great topic. I think people can really experiment with this. This is hard to mess up. Your processes are broken or non-existent right now. So pick one thing. And by the way, nothing would make me happier than to have someone jump on here and have us talk through one of their, whether, like you said, whether it's a pain point or something that they want, something they want an opportunity, something good, but love to talk through that.
Analyze something from the outside looking in. Hey, where's a way to make this more efficient or better, or where's a way, how did I do this? I think that would be the amazing thing for you, is when somebody says, I had a success, but I have no idea how to replicate it. And I know that you, with the foresight and your gifts, will most likely be able to look at it and help them figure that out. So take Howie up on that.
Well, we could do it together, and you've got plenty of foresight and gifts too. So we would love to do that for anybody. I will be thinking about somebody. I'll be racking my brain to think about, is there somebody that I know with a small business that maybe would benefit from a conversation about that, maybe they would like the exposure as well for their business, perhaps. But yeah, anyway, if not, what's our email that you can tell the folks?
Howie and Beastmode at gmail.com. Yeah, super easy.
At Gmail. And then, they can find us on, frankly, quite a number of places.
Yeah, anywhere that you look that has podcast or video capabilities, we're going to be there. Social media as well. So we're here for you.
Absolutely. Well, good luck out there, y'all. Have a good week.
Yes, sir. See you soon.
Once you walk through that door, where it's going to take you, it's going to take you someplace that's never going to take me.
Good. Yeah, comparison, is a thief of joy.